Hello everybody and welcome to another Destiny build video. Today is an absolutely insane one. It's going to allow you to chain lightning literally to every single enemy in your vicinity. It is absolutely insane. As you can see, it is melting through yellow bar legionaries. It is such a great build, and especially if you actually are teamed up with other people and you're on ad clear, this is literally going to be an ad clear's dream. It's also very strong in the sense of how fast you can get supers. I mean, just watch my super bar right here as I have Arc Conductor active. It is literally just shooting up. It is actually so insane how fast you get supers. It is incredibly powerful. And it's just also a lot of fun to use. I'd like to add that as well, because Destiny sometimes can feel a little stale, especially if you've been using a build for a long time. This build is a lot of fun. It's very similar to some other ones out there that use the Mask of Bakris, but it is a little bit different, a little bit unique. And like I said, it allows you to just chain lightning. It is so fun to watch all the lightning just hit everything. So let me show you how to make this build. So starting off here, we have our exotic of choice, and that is going to be the Mask of Bakris. Bakris is a great helmet, one of the best ones for Hunter. This is going to make it that while you have a stasis or arc super equipped, your dodge becomes a teleport. And when you teleport, you will gain a stasis and arc weapon stacking damage bonus. Also works with Lord of Wolves. Final blows with this bonus active will refund class ability energy, and then it stacks on and on and on. Now for our stats, we're going to want to have a 100 in class, a 100 in weapons, and then for our third stat, you're going to want a as high as possible grenade stat. This is how we're going to be able to keep up some grenades, which as you saw is very important in this build, but we do not need like a massive 100, but the closer you can get this one to 100, the better it will be. For our class, obviously you want 100, so that way we can max out our Bakris dodges, and for weapons, this is obviously because we want to increase our damage, obviously. The other three stats are just kind of up to you to have them as you have them. For our weapon of choice, it's going to be the Riskrunner. Riskrunner is a very strong arc submachine gun that will make it that when you take arc damage, it will become very powerful. It will allow all bullets to literally conduct electricity and lightning strike nearby enemies that you're hitting. It will also make you resist incoming arc damage. It will have unlimited bullets, and kills will extend the time that you're in that state. It is a very strong exotic, and it is very nice, very underrated, but the catalyst kind of sucks. Bungie, please add some arc synergy with Riskrunner, specifically maybe some jolt. Add some jolt, maybe get a little bolt charges, amplified, something, please Bungie. And for your other two weapons, you can actually go ahead and put on whatever you would like. I put on a Mint Retrograde and even the crossbow. That's just kind of like my two weapons I like using right now. So you can go ahead though and put on whatever two accompanying weapons you would like. Now for our subclass, we're obviously going to be using Pure Arc, which is Arc Strider. For our super, you can go ahead and use whichever super you would like. But I believe Arc Staff is the one that has the fastest recharge time, and that is why it was recharging so fast in the beginning. So you're probably going to want to leave Arc Staff on if you really care about your super. If you don't, and you'd rather just put on Gathering Storm, Storm's Edge, you don't really care how long it takes, then you can probably just throw those on. It's not really going to make too much of a difference, since the super is very nice, but it's not the main part of the build. For our dodge, you're going to want Gambler's Dodge on. You can also swap this for Marksman, but you really won't need it, only because when you get hit by arc damage, Riskrunner will pretty much just be infinitely reloaded, so it's not really a big need. But Gambler's Dodge is going to refund our melee, which is always nice. So that's a very nice one to have. For your jump, use whichever one you're most comfortable with. For your melee, same idea. You can actually use any melee you want, since our main focus around the build is the gun, so we're not really focusing on meleeing, so you can actually just throw on whichever one you would like. For your grenade, you're going to need Pulse Grenade. Pulse Grenade is just the quickest one that will hurt yourself, and yes, obviously you need to hurt yourself to trigger the arc damage. Unless you're playing against arc enemies, like enemies that deal arc, then you won't need to do this, but for the purpose of this build is that you can use it anywhere, so you're going to want a Pulse Grenade so that you can hit it at your feet. For the aspects, this is honestly kind of the funniest one. This build really doesn't take advantage of almost any of these, and I'm literally not kidding. the aspects do not synergize very well with this build. Now, you can throw on Ascension if you would like. You can even throw on Tempest Strike if you want and run them together. I had Flow State on and then Lethal Current. That's just what I had on, but really they don't synergize too well because Flow State is going to make you amplified, which you already will on rapid arc kills, and you're going to get dodge recharge more quickly, which you don't really need as long as you're keeping up your Bakris by getting kills. It's also going to make you reload much quicker, which obviously, yet again, we don't need to reload because it's an infinite reloading gun. And the only one that does is kind of nice is the more resilient while dodging. That's not bad. As for Lethal Current, the only one that we really get advantage of, just because we're not going to be using our melee too much, is going to be defeating or damaging a jolt to target with a melee. It will blind them. That's pretty nice. The only difference is since we will be dodging a ton, our next melee attack will always have increased lunge range, jolt, and cause a damaging aftershock. So that's why it's kind of nice to have this one on, and then this one is just kind of on for the bonus when resilient when dodging. So I recommend Flow State and Lethal Current. You can swap one out for Ascension or Tempest Strike, I should say, if you want. The only difference is that Tempest Strike and Ascension is going to make you kind of focus on using those, which obviously when you're using those, you're not using your Riskrunner. So that is my little tidbit on the aspects, but I'd highly recommend just sticking with Flow State and Lethal Current. Now for the fragments, we're going to start over here with Spark of Resistance, obviously pretty much the most important one. You gain damage resistance when you are surrounded by combatants. Obviously this is a very, very good one to have on. For our second one, we're going to use Discharge. This is going to make so that arc weapon final blows will have a chance to create an Ionic Trace. Collecting an Ionic Trace will grant you a stack of Bolt Charge. While that is nice, and very, very nice, but the best part about this is Ionic Trace is going to refund our grenade energy, which is what we really, really want. Spark of Amplitude is going to be our next one. Rapidly defeating targets while you are amplified will create an orb of power. This is going to help us keep up orbs, which is going to help us with our armor mods. And last but not least is going to be the Spark of Instinct. While critically wounded, taking damage will emit a burst of damaging arc energy that will jolt targets. This is just a nice little one to get some enemies kind of off your back, maybe kill a few that are around you when you get critically wounded. It's just a very nice survivability one to have on. The armor mods are very, very simple for this build. You're just going to want a Harmonic Siphon. That way your Riskrunner is going to generate some orbs of power. For your next two, you can go ahead and put on whatever you would like. Genuinely, you can put on Super Fonts, you can put on Ashes to Assets, Hands On, Dynamo. You can do whatever you would like. I just threw on a Special and a Heavy Ammo Finder. For your gauntlets, you're going to want an Impact Induction, so that way when you cause damage with a powered melee attack, it will reduce your grenade cooldown. Just another way we can help get that grenade back even quicker, since we're going to be getting a ton of dodges through Gambler's Dodge when we use our Mask of Bakris. And then we're going to use a Firepower and a Heavy-Handed so that when we get a final blow with that powered melee and or our grenade, should it happen, then we will get a orb to spawn as well. For your chest piece, you're going to want to put on resistance mods for whatever activity you're doing. For example, the one I had a lot of void incoming damage increases, so I put on 3 void resistances to kind of negate that. For the boots, you're going to want a Innervation. Yet again, another way we're going to help get our grenade back with Innervation, which is going to make it so that when we pick up an orb of power, it will reduce our grenade cooldown. And then 2 arc weapon surges here, so that way we can increase our Riskrunner damage by another 17%. And last but not least is going to be the class item with a powerful attraction and 2 Reaper mods. This is going to make so that every kill within 5 seconds is going to generate an orb of power. Powerful attraction is going to make it so when we use that Mask of Bakris dodge, it will collect nearby orbs of power. Technically, you can swap this one off for another Reaper if you would like. This one is up to you, and I prefer powerful attraction so that way I don't have to think about it and go try to pick up the orbs. But you can, if you'd rather generate even more orbs, you can swap that to a Reaper. This one is kind of on you. Now, when it comes to the artifact, there is a few mods that will benefit this build. Starting here with Refresh Threads, so that when we pick up Ionic Traces, it will give us even more energy to our least charged ability. Elemental Coalescence is another good one. This one's going to make so that when we defeat targets, we'll have a chance to create an elemental pickup, aka an Ionic Trace. Elemental Overdrive is a good one as well, so when you pick up Ionic Traces, it will grant increased damage to weapons of the same element, aka Arc, aka Riskrunner. And last but not least is going to be Shield Crush. While you have Amplified, your grenade will recharge faster and deal increased damage. another great way that we're going to be able to get our pulse grenade back as quick as possible. So the main way to use this build, all you're going to want to do is just hit yourself in the foot with a pulse grenade. And I'm not kidding. That's literally what you're going to want to do, because that is going to start Arc Conductor and allow Riskrunner to do its chain lightning and everything of that sort. Now, that is why we obviously wanted our grenade to come back as fast as possible, because should our Arc Conductor end because maybe we just don't have enough kills, there's not enough enemies or whatever, we can just hit ourselves in the foot again with a pulse grenade and start it all over again. And the one thing to remember about this build as well is you're going to want to make sure you are always using your dodge, aka your Mask of Bakris shift. This is what's going to allow you to spawn tons of orbs through your Reaper mods. This is also what's going to increase Riskrunner damage exponentially when you get to ×3 light shift. This is what's going to allow you to just teleport around, get your melee back, and just keep the chain going. It's what's going to allow you to just continuously keep your Arc Conductor running on Riskrunner through getting more damage, which means more kills, which means extended timer. Like I said, you're going to get a lot of damage bonuses from the weapon stat to light shift to your surges on your legs. There's a lot you're going to get with this build. And you're going to want to make sure that you only use your grenade when you need to get your Arc Conductor back up. It can be a little tempting to throw your grenade at an enemy, but you're going to want to make sure you save it so that way when your Arc Conductor runs out, you can start your chain lightning up again. And with all of that, though, that is going to be the entirety of the build. So let me know in the comments below what you think about this build when you put it together. And yeah, with all that, if you liked the video, then why not hit the like button, subscribe, comment, share, all that good jazz, because it lets me know that you liked the video and that you want to see more. And why not join the family and watch some of the past build videos and obviously the future. So with all of that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, I will see you around the tower.